What's been one of the most humbling experiences, good or bad, for you running this place?
Probably the hardest thing for me was being a manager of people, the kids that work here. I had that was a huge learning curve for me because prior to this, I was a worker bee.
What do you want to accomplish maybe in the next year or two, and then where do you want to see yourself in this shop in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I know very soon we want to do a renovation in here. I think it's definitely time for a facelift. We're getting aged in here a little bit. Still looks great.
I still am a Star Wars fan. That's another topic for another time.
At that point, maybe you're happy you never went to Disney, because...
What is up, everybody? Walter Hooper of WA Hooper Marketing, host of Marketing Minds Meet. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been quite a few minutes. In fact, it's almost been a few hours since we've last recorded a show and a program for everyone here. You know what? But it's been a good thing. The reasoning is because jobs, projects have piled up. And so there's more work to be done, which is great. Always a good problem to have when you have more work to do. But in turn, it is still a problem because, well, we don't get episodes of Marketing Minds Meet. So we're fixing that today. And if you notice, we're not at the Knot. We are in one of what I would say probably one of the finest food establishments, dessert establishments here in Grosse Pointe Woods. We are at Ashby's Sterling Ice Cream, and I'm just going to go on the record and say that I'm a cookie dough connoisseur, and their cookie dough honestly is one of the best cookie dough flavors all throughout Metro Detroit, and I do not say that lightly. But today, since we're here at Ashby's, I'm sitting here with the owner of this wonderful shop and establishment, the one, the only. Well, before I even get into that, this is an individual that I've had the utmost pleasure of getting to know over the last few months. We've been networking together. He just joined my volunteer group as well, so I get to see him on a fairly regular basis, and I've had a couple sit-downs with him. Really stand-up individual, really has his stuff together, and he's just an overall really solid individual. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us introduce the one, the only, Mr. Dillon Rochon. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hi, Walter. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for being here, first and foremost. I appreciate you taking the time today. We're here right before his shop opens, I believe, at noon. But we're going to get right into it. So, Dillon, tell us about you and tell us about your journey leading up to being here at Ashby's.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been here, I joke, I say I've been here too long, but I love being here as long as I have been, and I plan to be here for the rest of my life, honestly. I've grown up in the Metro Detroit area. I'm from St. Clair Shores. I've been in Grosse Pointe through baseball and a lot of sports and stuff, so I feel like I'm a dual communal guy. But Ashby specifically, this was my first job, so I've been here since 2012, and I became the owner in 2020, March 5th. Okay,
so that is pretty unique. So you mentioned you became the owner in 2020. Tell us about that journey. How did that transpire, and what happened during that wonderful year that was 2020 for you?
I'm sure we all missed 2020, right? But no, my old boss called and asked if I'd be interested in purchasing Ashby's. Again, I never would have expected to be in this position, but I'm grateful for it every day. When I took over, it was March 5th, so about a week before shutdown. So that was definitely interesting. Because taking over a business, I was 22 at the time, so I was already in over my head.
Wow, dang. Dude.
Yeah, pretty young. Still like to think I'm pretty young, but I don't know.
Trust me, you are.
Time creeps up on you, man. But yeah, about a week before shutdown, we took over. So navigating that was pretty challenging. whether you're an essential business, whether you're not, how to do the takeout, how many chairs can I have in here. It was a whole new playbook, and really no one knew what they were doing. Everyone was trying to figure it out at the same time, right? Which did bring a level of understanding from the customers and the group, and but there was definitely a lot of challenges as well.
So for you, so you mentioned the challenges. What was one of the biggest challenges for you at that point, first opening up, and especially at that turbulent time?
Oh yeah, well, it was honestly like a mixture of keeping the community and the customers happy, making sure they felt safe, shopping here and everything like that, which I thought we did a really good job of keeping everything clean and up to code with COVID. And then outside of that, just keeping the lights on, making sure we had enough business coming in to keep this place going. As you mentioned earlier, this place has been here for too long for anything to let it come crashing down, right? So we did everything in our power to make sure we'd make it out of that, and we're really happy and thankful that we did.
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we as the community are absolutely grateful that you were able to make it out, and still be thriving. So at that time, were you just running the show, or did you have like a small group of employees with you during that 2020 period? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so when I took over, there was a staff of 15, and at that time, I knew I was going to be taking on a huge brunt of the hours just to kind of save on wages. Again, I came in really young, so I didn't have all the capital in the world to, just throw stuff like that at it. But I did have, my work ethic and my ability to just be here and kind of do things for free for a while. So that definitely helped save on a lot. So I had to let go of a good number of the staff. I kept 3 on, and then my little sister Lauren started working here too. She's still here, and she's a huge help. And then over the years we've grown, and now we're about 12 employees this season. So yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
Look at that, man.
A lot of good help too.
Yeah.
I think we've got some of the best kids in the area working here. I'm very thankful for all of my employees. They're great people.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like for as many times as I've been in here, I've never, the service has always been top notch. Obviously, your product here is top notch, and I think that's you've accumulated 2 of the most important things when you're working and owning, especially a food establishment. You got a very hospitable staff, very knowledgeable, or if they aren't able to get the answer, they're going to have someone find the answer for you. And again, as I say, the product speaks for itself. So I mean, if you haven't had a chance, you're doing yourself a disservice. Get in here and try some ice cream. So now you have a slew of staff. So for you, since the great year of 2020, what would you say for you? What would be some of your long-term goals, short-term goals? What do you want to accomplish maybe in the next year or two, and then where do you want to see yourself in this shop in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I know very soon we want to do a renovation in here. I think it's definitely time for a facelift. We're getting aged in here a little bit. It still looks great. And then the nostalgia of it, you're still coming into the same shop you've always come to, right? So a lot of people do appreciate that, but I just think it's time for a facelift. And yeah, we're going to get it looking really good in here. We're hoping to do that this coming January. And then in the next 5 years, I want to keep it going as smoothly as we can. I don't plan to leave this place ever. So if we can just keep gaining momentum and keep things going how we've been doing it, that's going to be all right with me. And we're bringing soft serve in, so that'll be fun.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, we got the machine. It doesn't fit, so that's going to be another reason we're doing the renovation. That's the main reason we are get that to fit in here. But while we're cutting walls down, why not do everything at once, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So would that be almost like I hate to use the competitors in here, but would that almost be like a Blizzard
Yes, right. We won't be able to call it that.
Of
right?
course, of course.
There was a couple names we were thinking of. I like the Ashby's Avalanche. I thought that would be.
Ooh, okay.
I'm a sucker for alliteration, so.
I love it. I love it.
But me and my sister have been definitely trying to figure out what the best name for it would be. She's such a huge help. I think to start off, we're just do chocolate vanilla, so we can do that type of swirl. But we could also do Dole Whip with the machine that we purchased, which I hear is huge. If you ever go to like Disney World or something, like everybody gets the Dole Whip. This is what I've been told. I've never had it personally.
Yeah.
Have you had Dole Whip?
No, because my parents did not love me or my brother enough to take us to Disney. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, not sorry. Them's fat. That's another story for another time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And as you've been telling me, your family likes to camp and stuff. I'd much rather get out in the woods than go to like. It's very commercialized, right? And that Dole Whip's going to be $35 just because of the ears that are attached to it.
Oh, so, yeah.
You know,
of course.
Yeah.
I love my parents. Just don't. I do. So.
We know that.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, that's okay. So you have some projects. You have some big changes coming, and I think, I think in this community especially, change is scary for them, but as I always say, when it comes to change, it's you either adapt or you go by the wayside, so if you're not adapting to what's going on around you and you're not taking note and making some, some changes, some revisions, then you could see a long-term problem happen for you. So for you to kind of just take that by the reins and just go, yeah, this is what we're doing. I think you have to, and I think it's a step in the right direction, and that doesn't just go with food service industry. It goes with anything really in life. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest thing. So props to you for making those changes and taking those leaps into the future for your business.
Thank you. Yeah. It
Mm.
is scary. Change is never an easy thing, but yeah, I think you're right. Like sometimes it's just necessary, and the environment around you will show when it's needed, right? Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. So with that, going along with that as well, so when you became owner of this place, was that the dream for you? Was it a dream for you to run your own, not even necessarily ice cream shop, but like run your own business, run your own establishment? Was that always something that Dillon wanted in his life card deck?
Oh yeah. I went to Lakeshore High School in St. Clair Shores, and it was really cool. We were able to go bowling for a gym class because there's a bowling alley like at the end of our parking lot, and the owner of that alley I learned owned like that whole strip, and that's kind of where I got in the idea, like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. You just you own the building, get some workers. It just seemed like a good way to run your life. Now getting into that is a totally different set of challenges and obstacles, and I really never knew how I would be able to do that, but yeah, it was always a dream of mine, and then I got the call for this place, so again, I'm always gonna be grateful for that phone call. Yeah, it was really cool.
So let's talk about maybe some humbling experiences, because I know for me and my company, I have had a few of those, good and bad. Yeah. But for you, what's been one of the most humbling experiences, good or bad, for you that you experienced running this place, and then what did you take away from that experience? Like what was the lesson? What was the overall takeaway that you got from it?
Probably the hardest thing for me was being a manager of people, the kids that work here. I had that was a huge learning curve for me, because prior to this, I was a worker bee. I worked here, but I spent like 2 or 3 years outside of here. I did a lot of trade work. I was a painter. I towed cars. I loved that. I worked at Troy Auto Care. Shout out Donnie Hudson. Love that guy. Always going to be a big part of my life. But yeah, coming into this was the first opportunity and moment that I had to manage other people. I definitely learned like communication is key, but you can always be better with it. So I was always just trying to figure out what is the best way to explain this to someone. And frustrations come, but I think the kids around me definitely showed me just based off how they would respond to one thing or the other. It's like, how can I best portray what I'm trying to get across here? And I've definitely carried that in life too, just with other people, with the networking groups, right? Like communication can always be done in a better way. I think that definitely, it was humbling to find that out, just like saying something once, you're like, why can't they understand that? It makes sense to me. But yeah, I always joke, common sense is only common to those that it's been made common to, right?
Damn. That's great.
Thank you. But yeah, I think that was it was one of the best experiences that I've gained from this place. Yeah.
Well, and like you said, communication is huge, and not just here, but like you said, networking groups, in any scenario. I always say, and I would always like to think that, I'm the type of person that, you kind of know where you stand with me, whether it's, personal, professional, like I'm always going to be upfront with you, and I think you being in the position that you are as a manager, that is crucial, because if you're not communicating and you're not saying what you need to say, obviously there are ways to do it, but if that message isn't getting, across, then quite frankly, I think, and I know because I've witnessed it in the past with other things that I've either been involved with or just heard about, you lose all credibility and respect, I think, from people that maybe you thought were, honorable people, but, if they're doing things either behind your back, or if they're saying one thing but doing something else, for me, those are huge, if not some of the biggest red flags, I think. And I think for you to be able to understand that and to, it's hard. Like you said, it's tough to manage people.
Oh, yeah.
But you've been able to do it so effectively and so gracefully, I think. And just from the little bit I've seen, like when I've seen you, even before I got to know you, like when you were, working with your people here, I'm like, this would seem like a cool place to be at, because how it's run, it's,
Thank you. Yeah.
So
I definitely have my learning curves. There's been mistakes made.
Of course.
I wasn't always graceful, right? But yeah, I try to be, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, no, I love that answer. I love communication. Communication is key, people. Come on, let's get alliteration right.
Right. Well, I think too is accountability. And even like if you don't feel like you should have to be accountable, I don't know. Like the red flags that come up, like if they're not getting done what I needed to get done, instead of looking at them like, why? It's like, it has to be something I probably could have presented this better.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people could benefit from looking inward.
Oh yeah, and I've definitely had to, I've had to do that, on more than one occasion, and as I always say, you're always learning, and it's even like in my profession, you're always learning something, because if you don't think that you have anything more to learn, then you've already failed.
Oh yeah.
Like you've already failed.
Yeah.
So, good on you, sir, for being who you are and doing what you do, and handling your employees the way you do, and I think it sounds like they respect you and like you.
I should hope so.
So we're gonna get into some dark side territories here. So when I say dark side, we're gonna hit on some subjects here that maybe don't get talked about, but maybe should be talked about.
Okay.
So, so the first dark side question I have for you, sir, is tell me something about what you do that you do not like, and why.
Business-wise, or just?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
I mean, it could go other ways too. It's
yeah, it's a good question. You stumped me. um, um, I'm a hardworking guy. There's not too much that like really bums me out about work. I guess, we're serving up happiness, right? It's really hard to be upset about ice cream. But sometimes, someone will walk through that door with, just been having a bad day, needed to pick me up, but maybe we weren't able to pick you up that day. I think, it's been hard to accept that, like, I'm not gonna be able to make every single customer happy. But yeah, if I fail, like in a customer, experience, that's always been a real bummer for me.
okay. Yeah, no, that's I can appreciate that, and I can respect, because you can't make everybody happy.
No,
you can't
do it.
Because I think when you try to make everybody happy, then I don't know, you kind of lose a little bit of I don't know, like. I think you just, if you know already that, hey, I'm not gonna make everybody happy, but I'm gonna do my absolute best that I can while I'm here, then that's all I can do. It's
Right.
it's on that person then, that if they're not, if they're not happy or in a good place, hey, you did your best. You did your part.
Yeah, I mean, you try every time. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sometimes even if your best effort isn't it didn't succeed, at least you tried. But I don't know, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist too, so it's hard to swallow those ones,
I get it. So am I. So am I.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So not being able to make everybody happy that walks in through the door. Yeah. That's that's not always the case, So, so we're gonna play a worst case scenario, and then I don't think this will happen, so don't worry. For those that are watching and listening, let's pretend worst case scenario. Ashby's no longer is able to keep their doors open, and you are now faced with a situation, a do or die. Again, change, I guess, maybe is the theme for today. You are faced with a scenario where you need to find something else to be able to make a living. What is Dillon Rochon's backup plan? Let's just say if, and that's a huge if Ashby's were to no longer be anymore.
I'd definitely be a tradesman. That was my trajectory before this kind of just fell into my lap. So I'd probably go back to work in some sort of a trade. I mean, at this point, definitely too late for college. It's never too late, but I definitely think that would be my niche. Like I said, I used to tow cars. I was thinking about getting into heating and cooling before this.
Really?
Yeah, that would have been cool. But no, I'm a fighter. If anything like that, God forbid, did happen, I don't worry about that. I'd figure it out some way or another. There's a million jobs out there, and my biggest thing in an interview was always, I'm very trainable. I might not know what to do today, but give me a week and I'll be one of your hardest working employees for sure. That
is great. Again, I love that. I love that. Again, that tenacity. It's a tenacity thing,
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've, even just in business scenarios and networking scenarios, where I've even 5 years ago, I would, run into people almost on a daily basis, and then, like that, I don't see them anymore, and say, well, what happened? And either they lost their business, or if they were working for another company, I got let go, so I'm doing something else, or whatever the case may be. It's like, okay, it's like, you're always constantly having to think about those next few steps ahead. So the fact that you're able to, without hesitation, be like, oh, I go into trades, or I do this, it's hey, you're prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, God forbid.
Right.
God forbid, because I don't want this cookie dough to go away.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
So currently, right now, what would you say for you and the shop? What would you say currently right now is one of your biggest challenges that you face right now, running the shop?
I would say we've gotten too big for our own good. So like logistically, I think the renovation is going to be a huge help. We need to spread ourselves out more. We need a little more counter space. Just like making it run a little more free flowing. I feel like we find we're in each other's way quite a bit with the one register. I'm very excited for that renovation because it'll just the flow needs to always be just perfect, so that way you can get people in and out. The line's never waiting too long. I think just the logistics of how we're set up. It was good for a very long time, but we got really, really busy. I'm definitely excited for that renovation. It's going to help things a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, because I know there's some places even locally here that have done this now. Has there been any, even like a thought, let alone like an actual plan, like put in place of expanding?
There's definitely been thought. My biggest thing with that is if I was ever to like get into another building, it would have to be next to a Little League. Because we're right next to Grosse Pointe Woods City Hall, so Guest Squire Park. I grew up there. I love that park. It's a beautiful place if you've never been. And it's just getting redone, so if you want to go take a really nice walk, go check out Guest Squire. But baseball and ice cream go hand in hand. Kids and ice cream go hand in hand. So just to mix all that up in one pot it's too perfect. So if we ever did do a second location, I would definitely find a building next door to a Little League park. And then I guess the problem with that too is I've also been a Little League umpire for 14 years. So when I'm your ump, I give you win or lose, both teams get free toppings just to kind of promote the store, get them in, and then give them a little something back too for playing a good game or whatever, however you want to call it. But I can't be in two places at once, right? So it would be tough, but it's definitely crossed our minds.
Okay, right on. So yeah, it's been in the forefront, or it's like you said, it's the thoughts run through your mind on more than one occasion. But yeah, and then the ump thing, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I love doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, my final dark side question for you before we go back into the light, because even though they're struggling right now, I still am a Star Wars fan. That's another topic for another time.
Yeah, right?
That's a Patreon page segment.
Well, at that point, maybe you're happy you never went to Disney, because...
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, who knows? Anyway, so, okay. The finale of the Dark Side era of this portion of the show. Okay, so you're a music guy, right?
Yeah, love music.
Okay, do you like blues?
Love blues.
All right. What about like old school like Delta style blues?
Delta style. I'm not sure I'm familiar.
Okay. Have you heard of an artist by the name of Robert Johnson?
Maybe.
Okay, well, I will give you a quick condensed version of his tale. Robert Johnson is revered as one of the greatest blues, if not the greatest, blues guitarist of all time.
Okay.
He was an acoustic player, hail from the Mississippi Delta, and the tale goes. I know you know this song because again you like blues, at least blues rock. You know the song "Crossroads" by the band Cream.
Yes.
Okay, so that is actually a cover of a Robert Johnson song.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So they electrified it and made it more upbeat. And Roberts it's very like I love it. I love Roberts. So anyways,
I'll listen to it today.
Yeah, pull it up on your Apple Music.
Yeah.
Just say yeah. So the tale goes that he, leading up to like the beginnings of his career, his music career, he was an okay at best guitarist.
Okay.
He wasn't really anything to write home about. Well, one day he just happened to be walking down the road back to, I don't know if it was his house or he was going to his to whatever destination he was going to. He happened to stumble upon a crossroads section, and on this crossroads section there was an individual that approached him and said, "Hey, I can tune your guitar for you if you like, and in exchange you'll get something even greater, being an even more improved guitar player than you already are, being one of the greatest guitar players in the world. The only thing is I'm just going to need something from you in return," and then that being was his soul.
Oh.
So, so he did it. He has his guitar tuned, and lo and behold, he is doing things on that guitar, making noises and that no one's ever seen nor heard before, and really since then. And so, fast forward to however long it was after that encounter, so-called encounter. He's at a juke joint that he was playing at, and he was known to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Be very friendly with a lot of women, and whether or not they were taken, So he happened to be talking with this one lady, and turns out her man was not liking it, and apparently his drink was what's the word I'm looking for? It was compromised, and he keeled over. But hey, he got to be the greatest guitar player in the world, and ever since, he has a legacy now that all the famous blues rock artists, so Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, all of those guys, you name it, they all stem from Robert's legacy of his guitar playing. And so my question for you, Sir Dillon Rochon, is if the devil were to make a proposition to you, and if the devil were to say, "Dillon, you have something really cool here, but guess what? I could make it so big for you that you would never have to worry about anything else in your life. You would be set. You would have people coming in from even outside of the U.S. and wanting your product here at Ashby Sterling Ice Cream. But the only thing is that it does come with the price. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it comes at the price of your own mortality. It could be at the price of friends, family. It could be something else, but regardless, there is going to be a price for it. However, in turn, you will be all set for life. You will not have to work. You could retire before you're 30. So, Dillon, do you take that offer that the devil presents to you?
Absolutely not. No, I'm very certain that God gave me all of this, so I'll continue to be on His side because He'll keep helping me out as long as I do. And I think the best part about God is it's not supposed to be easy. You're supposed to have challenges. There's supposed to be some bumps in the road because that's part of the journey, and that's what makes you a better person. So if my legacy was of a hardworking man, someone who's on the right path and wouldn't do anything for vanity or anything like that, I would much more prefer that legacy than being the greatest ice cream scooper of all time, which I still think with God I might be able to get there one day, but then I'd leave that up to the critics to decide, right?
True that. Okay, well, you among many of guests that have been on this program have answered no.
Okay.
So
that's good. You're interviewing some good people.
Yeah, I've only had one. Actually, it was technically two. It was a couple that said that they would.
They would take it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to each their own.
Yeah.
No judgment here.
Yeah. Now, granted, this was more on a social setting, and these are just random strangers, and let's just say we were enjoying some beverages, while we were having this conversation. So it could have just been for the theatrics of the moment, but yeah, no, they without hesitation, they said, "Oh yeah, we do it." It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey.
You only get one life. You can spend it how you want. But,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%. You live your life the way you do, and I'll live my life the way I do, and that's that. And if it aligns, great. If it doesn't,
So
that's
be-
okay too.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, you have passed the dark side portion of the program, sir.
I made it.
You made it. We did it, Reddit.
I like these questions. They're good.
Well, I'm glad you do. I try to keep it, entertaining at the very least and engaging. So,
Oh yeah.
so let's get back into the light and into we're out of the dark side. Now we're into the light side. We played Sith for a moment. Now we're gonna go back to being the Jedi. So when you are not running this wonderful establishment and managing a great staff and crew, what are some hobbies and activities Dillon enjoys in his spare time?
With the very little spare time I have, I am a big family man. I hang out with my siblings every day. They're my best friends. And if I'm not with them, I'm hanging out with my cousins and all my friends. And I've got a really, really cool group of people around me. And I spend as much time as I can with them, just because of what I get out of every single session that we hang out. Yeah. I like to stay active, especially now that it's summer. We do a lot of outdoor activities. I wouldn't call myself an athlete, but I like to play. I guess I golf, not very often and not very well, but I feel like that's how everyone is when you get out on the links. Yeah, I guess I like playing cards. I used to sing a lot. It's tough. Once you start working, it's hard to even remember what your hobbies were. But I try to get out there and just try and have some fun with my life,
Yeah, I think that's important because if you don't take and this is coming from someone that's been running their own company for coming up on 9 years in this July. It's if you don't take those breaks for yourself, and if you don't set time for yourself, oh man, it's just going to be a recipe for disaster because you're always feeling like you have these stressors in your life when really it's just making the time to just say, oh, okay, I'm not going to be available from this time period, from here till here.
Yeah.
Just if it's an emergency, hit me up, but if not, then you guys got this. I know you got this.
Right.
So okay, so what kind of card games are we thinking that you were into?
I'm from Michigan, so you got to play euchre.
I mean, yeah. I mean that's kind of a given.
Gotta love euchre. I play poker with my buddies. We don't normally put money down. We're just playing for fun. And honestly, the conversations get so carried away that if we tried to play for money, we would never finish anyway. Yeah, I guess poker. What else do we play? Spades. Spades is fun. I'm always so bad at figuring out what to bid, though. I never come in at zero. I'm always way over the mark. But you don't have to be good to play. You can always be dealt in, right?
You ever play Rummy 500?
I played Gin Rummy. I don't know if that's the same game.
Yeah, it's a little different, Gin Rummy. I think it's a little bit more complicated. I know how to play it, but it's a little bit more intricate. But yeah, my family grew up playing Rummy 500, so that's always something that we like to play. Well, now that we got the camper, so now we got a deck of playing cards up there, so
Perfect.
We'll be doing that quite a bit. And as far as poker goes, just regular Omaha, Texas Hold'em.
We've been mostly Texas Hold'em. My buddy Jack Crane, great guy, has taught me everything I know. His family, they grew up playing a lot, and we mostly do Texas Hold'em, but we've done Omaha. There's a couple different ones. I'm blanking on the names though, but like you said, we were definitely having a couple beverages that night. So.
Oh, for sure, yeah. No, I remember. So I'm going to date myself here. Back in high school, this is my junior year, so this would have been the years of like 2005, 2006. Texas Hold'em really became a thing, like especially with my age bracket at the time. So like I remember like I think it was either for birthday or Christmas one year I got a fold out like poker like table board, and to put on top of a any other table in our house. And so we had a retro, it was definitely from the 80s for sure, it was like this retro wood table. And so we go down there, we have probably like 4 rolling chairs set up around it, and then I just put the board out, and then I still have it, my set of poker chips, and cards, and then I just call up my buddies and be like, yo, Texas Hold'em, Friday or Saturday, and like, yeah, let's do it. And then they come over, and we just basically just play some poker, shoot the shit, and just have a grand old time, you know. And singing, because I think one of the first times we connected, you mentioned that you sang. Like, were you in choir? Were you in bands or anything like that? Like, how did that?
I was in my high school choir at Lakeshore. We had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the blend. Just kind of throw your voice into just this abyss of other voices, and it was really cool. You couldn't even hear yourself. You were just a part of this great sound. And when you got the song down and you were done, right? Like, it's very rewarding. I met a lot of great people. I just saw a couple of them the other night. It was cool catching up. I miss it every day, but time, is tough. So trying to join like a community choir would be really cool right about now, but it's just hard to find the time. But you can always sing in the shower, right?
Yeah, that's true. You can put a one-man show on for yourself.
Oh, yeah. And I do every time.
What are your so if you were like to be like singing, like you mentioned a choir, would you ever like think about like wanting to like form like a band or anything like that, or like be like a backup singer in a band, like as like a hobby type of a thing, or just strictly choir?
That'd be cool. I don't know how like my voice would go like style wise, right, to whatever band that would be available or whatever, but no, that would definitely be really cool. I have no music theory. I can't read music. I don't play any instruments, so I don't know how valuable I would be to the collective of an actual band, because like you really have to like play the notes. I'd have to listen to it, and it'd be tough, but it'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Cool. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so more or less like kind of like a choir type of a setting where like you're with the ensemble of fellow vocalists. And because I will say I only did choir in elementary and middle school, but I remember hearing our choir in my high school, because I was in concert band, I was in jazz band, I did all the band things, you name it, I did it. And I remember for our concerts that we did, there'd be sometimes where we'd play songs with the choir as like part of like the grand finale, and it was really cool to hear how, because we're hearing the instrumentals, right? So we're hearing just like our part, and like that already in and of itself has its intricacies and everything.
Oh yeah.
But then when you add in the vocals, it's like, oh, okay, that's why this section or this melody sounds the way it does or is played the way it is, because it complements what the vocalists are doing. It complements their vocal lines, and then just to see all the different. It was just cool. It's just now looking back at the time, when you're a teen, it's like, okay, I got another concert, So
yeah,
it wasn't like the cool kind, or like. We were, because like I was also in like rock bands, so it wasn't like, hey, come to the show. It was more or less just like, yeah, I got a thing with my school, so it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
So.
I did a couple musicals too, and like throughout the rehearsals, when we finally got the band, like I feel like we felt the same way. It's like finally we got live music to like sing to, so. The collaboration's always the best part.
Absolutely, yeah. 1000%. So, and you mentioned you're big into music. So, who are some of your favorite artists that you're that either you're currently listening to or just of all time? Like what would be on Dillon's playlist right now?
I listen to just about everything. If it sounds good, I'll listen to it. One of my favorite bands is Brass Tracks out of New York. They're more of like electric, but what I appreciate about them is it's a trumpeter and a drummer, and it's very simple, but they always bring on a different singer when they perform. So it's always fresh, it's always good. I've seen them a handful of times now. But then outside of that, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Clapton, those guys are awesome. Michael Jackson, Motown, all that stuff. Country, Luke Combs is really good. Couldn't believe he learned guitar at 23, and then now he's just this enormous status. So that was really cool to see for him. Yeah, I love all music. And then, it's always hard when you put on the spot. Like, I could tell you every other person if like we're just on Apple Music, but it's easy to blank.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm the same way. It's because there are a lot of times where I might be into one artist at that given moment, but then in the next month or two I'll be listening to something else. But that doesn't mean that I still don't like what I was listening to at even before then. But you mentioned Stevie, so I haven't. So Stevie is my all-time. He's my number one favorite guitar player of all time.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely unreal. He literally saved the blues back in the '80s when it was dying. Like, blues was not cool,
right?
Because you had the era of synthesizers, you had drum machines. It was just, it seemed like an impossible task to make the blues cool or keep it cool, and he did.
Yep.
And I still, like, when you really think about the trajectory of his career and just how really he had so much steam, and then he went through his sobriety, and then he was like ready to go on this next wave of success, and then it was just cut short because of the helicopter crash. Mm-hmm. And what's wild is, I think I might have mentioned this to you as well, was Eric Clapton was actually supposed to go on that helicopter.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so basically, how the story went was, because they played, because they were doing this tour of with other blues guitarists. So it was Stevie, Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, B.B. King, Robert Cray, and the last show that they played all together with Stevie was at the Alpine Valley in Wisconsin, and so when it was time to board each other's planes or helicopters or transportation, Clapton was supposed to go on, but then I guess, I can't, now don't quote me on this, you'd have to Google this, but I think it was Stevie said, I'll take this one, because it's just him. I think at the time it was Clapton and maybe his part of the woman he was going out with, or his wife at the time, and or maybe he was even a coin toss. I can't remember exactly, but Clapton was originally supposed to be on that helicopter. Now we go back again, we revisit the Devil's question, right?
Yeah.
So Clapton was, for the longest time, even earlier in his career, he was considered God on the guitar. Yeah. So, and he had, but if you think about it, and the trajectory of his career, I mean, he's had his fair share of heartbreak and loss. Yep. So you have to wonder if, he really did make a deal with the devil himself, because, he was supposed to be on that plane or that helicopter, but then Stevie goes on instead, and Stevie's killed, but Clapton gets to still have his life and his
show
career.
Goes on. Yeah.
Exactly, but don't think that he doesn't still think about it.
Oh no, not that would be on the forefront of anyone's mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but the point being is, Stevie's career was just so, for what it was, and just, even though we didn't get, I mean, we did get quite a bit of his catalog, but what could have been also was just, it's like, man, really, like, it's just not fair, you know?
It's an absolute shame.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. But that's why you have individuals like yourself, and even me back in the day, because I was really getting into his music when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of this back and forth of listening to Stevie and the blues and blues rock, and then listening to emo and screamo and heavy metal and all that stuff, pop punk and punk rock in high school. So it was I had a very interesting palette of musical.
It is like a taste palette, right? And it's going to change as you grow, and that's a good thing,
Yeah, 1000%. Like I said, even though I haven't listened to him in a minute. Like, I know when I throw on his Texas Flood record, I'm going to listen to that pretty much all the way through. Same thing with Couldn't Stand the Weather.
Yeah.
So it's all good things, man. Well, we won't keep you here for much longer. I know you got a business to run, a shop to open. If you could just the smell in here, so you can smell the sweetness of the ice cream. It's so tantalizing. It really and appetizing. It's amazing. But probably one of the most important questions that I can ask you is, if people want to find out more about Ashby's and get a hold of you, stop in. How can people find you? What is do you have a website, email address? What's the contact info? Are you on social media? Now's the time to plug all of the things for Ashby Sterling Ice Cream.
Well, we're on social media. We got Facebook and Instagram. Ashby's Ice Cream GP. It's on my menu board. That's why I looked. Yeah, we've got a lot of good content up there. And then you can always just call the store too. Yeah. But I always love a face-to-face, so just come visit me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and please, like I said, I cannot express enough how well set up this place is. It's been an establishment, and I think will continue to be an establishment here in the community. And so I think you being the face of it and running it, it's the perfect match. It's the perfect match. Well, with that being said, I believe that will conclude today's episode, much needed episode of Marketing Minds Meet. I want to thank Dillon here again for his time today and sitting down to chat with me, opening up his shop early for me to come in and set up all the equipment here. We're going to get some candids on the social media here as well. So on our social media, of course, we'll be tagging Dillon and Ashby's on there too. And Dillon, again, thank you so much, man. This has been a pleasure. I always enjoy chatting with you. I always, I respect you and admire you and what you've done for your business and just as an individual and as a person. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You got something really special here. So
thank you. The feeling is definitely mutual.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that as well. But yeah, we're gonna have to, like I said, now that the camper's here. We're going to have to schedule a camper outing, and maybe we could do like a networking group or even a young professionals, volunteer group outing.
Sounds good. I'll bring the poker chips.
All right. I'll hold you to that. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody. Once again, this has been another edition of Marketing Minds Meet. And before we log off here, please don't forget, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to our channel. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on pretty much most podcast mediums. But really, YouTube and Spotify are the big ones that we're really pushing right now. So again, so much content to go over. We got reels, shorts, clips, past episodes, all kinds of content to engage with, and we're going to continue to build upon that in the future as we get back into the swing of Marketing Minds Meet. So once again, I'm Walter Hooper, host of Marketing Minds Meet, and thank you again to Dillon and Ashby's for hosting us for this first episode in quite some time. So with that being said, we will catch you next time.